Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce the release of my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. If you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level in 2021, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD. All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. It is a magical Monday. Here we go again. So happy to be able to get the opportunity to share and connect with all of you lovely souls out there who happen to stumble upon, whether intentionally, unintentionally, happenstance, synchronicity, however you landed hearing these words. I am so grateful to connect with you as an extension of you, here to grow. Here we grow again. And to teach best what I most need to learn, continuing to remind myself of a lot of these things that we talk about on the show. We're circling over and over again in different ways from different angles. And, you know, it's one of those things where with this work, you can hear the same thing 25 times, and on the 26th time, all of a sudden it clicks in a way that it really hasn't before. And that's what's beautiful about this whole process. And you're doing it. We're doing the work, and it's definitely having an effect on me and certainly other listeners. And hopefully today's message will be new and a recap and everything in between. Some of you, it'll be totally new. Some of you have heard similar things before. But at the end of the day, it is continuing to pave the way. We're laying tracks across eternity, if you will, laying them, repetitively. It's how you get really good at anything, right? What do they say? 10,000 hours to become a master of something, if you want to play guitar or whatever it may be. So same thing with this work. We're becoming masters, right? And what does a master do? And a master, well, what I always like to say, and I heard many years ago, I don't remember where, a master embraces whatever shows up because they realize it is exactly what they need to become the next greatest and grandest version of themselves. And we're all becoming masters. And this message is mastery today for all of us as we figure out this time-space thing. Before I jump into the topic, I would like to take a moment and read a review on iTunes. As you guys know, I love to get reviews and feedback from you. It not only helps us to reach new people, but also helps to fuel my fire to continue this labor of love that is this broadcast. And so, if you haven't reviewed on iTunes, certainly please and thank you for doing so. Also, CastBox is supporting the show, and I love to get reviews there as well. And highly encourage you guys to check out that app and use it. I don't know how you're hearing it. Maybe you're hearing this podcast on CastBox now, but there's many ways to get podcasts. And what's great about them is they're, recommending other shows and supporting podcasts like this one. And so it's refreshing from where I sit to have that support and help. And so, recommend checking them out as well. All right. This review by Rachel V22 said, Positive Head Therapy. Brandon, I found your show back in May when I was a little down from the tail end of winter. It's usually around this May-April timeframe when I feel especially down, and I have been deprived of warm sunlight for several months at that point. I started listening to your show at a time where I felt as though I could not control my thoughts and emotions and was looking for any answer possible to help. I can proudly say that your positive words, along with joining the Positive Heads Facebook group, has shown me that there is so much support and light in the world that I don't have to wait until the warmer months to be happy. that we all form our own reality with our thoughts. This was such a powerful concept to me and so eye-opening. Anytime I feel a negative thought beginning to enter my head, I just turn on a Positive Heads episode, and by the midpoint of the show, I am back to vibrating positively. This show has helped me more than any form of therapy ever has, and I can't thank you enough. You've changed my life so much for the better. You are such a positive light. Please keep on spreading that love and light, as I know you intend to. You are helping so many. I love you so, so much. Rachel V. Oh, wow. That was quite the powerful review, Rachel. Thank you. It is humbling to hear that the show has helped you in that way, and it's an honor to continue to, serve in this way. And, as I always say, there are no selfless acts. This is for me as much as for any of you. And what I'm giving away and giving of myself energetically is coming back to me so many folds. I mean, even in that review, right? Isn't that a beautiful thing when you realize the path to receiving is through giving? Why? Because there's only one of us in the room. So what I'm doing for you, I'm doing for me. By elevating your vibration, helping you to rewrite that story, that script that, here's a story Rachel had. Winter is this thing that happens, and I get less sun. And so as a result, I am feeling down and, all these things. And now she's rewriting that script. She's rewriting that story. And now she's getting different results because of it. And yeah, sure, there's physiological effects and all those things, but it's all linked. It's all linked to beliefs, as Dr. Bruce Lipton pointed out, who was on the show, a couple years ago. He wrote the book Biology of Beliefs, and I love it and always tell people go check it out, or check out his YouTube where he shows this in details with models to kind of tie science and spirituality together. And it's just so powerful when you realize you're telling stories, you're rewriting stories about what is or isn't possible. And and she mentioned also the Facebook group. If you guys aren't on the Facebook group, Positive Heads with an S, it's a great place to connect with other listeners. It's private, so you can, dig into things you may not want to share with other people in Facebook land. But such a wonderful, wonderful review. Thank you again, Rachel. And you are doing it, and you are an inspiration to me and now others as well. So keep on keeping on. All right. So today, what I'd like to talk a little bit about is this idea of what happens to us when we are annoyed. What happens when you squeeze an orange? What comes out? Orange juice, right? Why does orange juice come out? Well, because that's what was inside of it. So my question is, when you get squeezed, when there's pressure, when there's, something that external circumstances that create some sort of stress or strain and pressure on you, what comes out? That's an indicator of what's in there, because it can't come out if it's not already in there, right? And circumstances maybe create these scenarios. I've beat up on my brother many times because he's such a great example, and I see him, most days or 5 days a week, and we go to lunch a lot of times, and a day doesn't go by where he doesn't get irritated at someone on the road, and we don't even drive that far. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this never happens to me. I'm never mad at anyone on the road. I mean, I can't say never. I'm sure it's happened, but it just, it's probably more in the past than now. But I view it as a practice of, this person's in a hurry and cutting me off. Maybe there's something really important going on. Maybe they're really stressed, and maybe they're really anxious. Maybe their wife just left them. Maybe their kid is, they just found, hardcore narcotics in their teenager's bedroom. You don't know. Maybe they just got fired, right? So if you take those perspectives instead of, man, what's wrong with you? Beeping on the horn, flipping off. In my brother's case, he doesn't get that aggressive typically, but it's kind of like the hands go up and he's agitated and saying something out loud verbally in the car, right? And so, what's coming out? Well, there's this somewhat rage, maybe rage is a strong word, this agitation that is in there. And these are just scenarios that are being created, that are having an opportunity to show you what you have inside of you. And what you have inside of you comes so much from the stories that you're telling. Just like, Rachel just told us, she was telling the story about what winter means to her, and now it's meaning something new. So what you're saying to yourself is being reflected out there in the mirror that is your reality, right? What you're saying to others, you're saying to yourself, and vice versa, silently and out loud. And this is really a revelation when it really starts sinking in. Like, hold on, I've been telling this story about here's where I'm at, in regards to relationships. Here's how men view me. Here's how women view me. Here's how I'm too fat. I'm too old. I'm too young. I'm too this. I'm not smart enough. All these things. And then, so you're constantly telling stories all day, every day, telling stories that make you weak. If you really pay attention, how many things are you doing that make you weak? And whether you're saying them out loud, in the case of my brother in the car, at times, or silently to yourself, telling these stories of what's wrong, right? You are reinforcing and creating those, and you're going to see reflections over and over and over. A lot of people cut him off. He's right. A lot of weird driving happens to him. Doesn't seem to happen to me. Interesting. It's reflecting. He's co-creating this feedback loop, and is kind of unconsciously, just doing it, repeating it. And so we've all experienced this, and are experiencing this to some degree or another at different times in our life. So, what are you saying to yourself and then seeing out there, instead of saying, yeah, that's the proof that that's the way things are? Now that you have this understanding of how reality works, you can say, now I see the proof that I create my reality, because I've been telling myself that story, and this person is reflecting it back to me, like acting like I'm too old or too young or too this or whatever the story is, right? Or they're treating me like I'm not smart. And I've been telling myself that, and here they are doing it. So instead of, I'm challenging you to, instead of reinforcing like you've been doing, like many of us have done, like, that is the way things are in 3D reality, and I'm going to use that as my reason to reinforce my story. Let's flip that. I see that out there in reality, and I'm going to use that as reinforcement that I'm creating it because I know I've been thinking that about myself, right? And that now empowers me to, now that I understand this story in this way, instead of it happening out there, which reinforces what's in here is reinforcing what's out there. Now that you understand that, well, there's a lot of difference in the power and empowerment that puts directly in your lap when you start viewing it, because you can change it, right? You're the source of it. So really pay attention today to the stories that you can tell and repeat like a bad broken record, and that are making you weak. What are your reactions to things out there that are making you weak? What if your only job is to stop saying and doing things that make you weak? And observe them and say, that was weak. I'm going to rewrite it. It's okay that I just had that thought again. It's kind of like a habit playing itself out. It's a knee-jerk reaction kind of thing. We get momentum and things get strength that way. I'm not going to beat myself up for it and just create even more things that are making me weak. Instead, I'm going to stop in this moment, and I'm going to just rewrite. I'm going to rewrite what I just said. I'm going to replace it. Literally, you can picture it as a cloud across your mind that just like floats by, and put a new cloud with a silver lining and a new story and a new statement, right? You can see it pop up and say release. That's one of the things that I'll do sometimes. If something pops up that I don't like, I'm not feeling, it's not empowering, it's making me weak, I say, I see that, release. And I'll even say it out loud, release. And then I'll gently rethink that in a way that is empowering. And that is a really, really beautiful thing to do. And, for a lot of people, these outward agitations come in the form of family members, which we've talked about a lot. I love the quote, if you think you're enlightened, spend a week with your family. I think Ram Dass said it. I can't remember. But, if you can approach any of these situations that have been making you weak and you've been using as an excuse to make you weak, start instead really choosing how you want to feel on the end of it. Like, choose the consequences of your choice. It's a really powerful thing to realize and to let sink in. I heard this woman, Minu, say when I saw her give a talk, I hope to have her on the show at some point in the future. She's amazing. She said, choose the consequences of the choice. So what are the consequences of you reacting in a certain way, right? Okay, well, we know what that's: agitation, feeling out of line, feeling kind of sick, feeling off, feeling low energy, your heart's closed, your energy's off, So what are the consequences of what you're going to do? Instead of caring about being right or wrong or what he did or she did or shouldn't have done, and here's, all that ego stuff that's exhausting, that it's a never ending, Ferris wheel of pain trying to be right. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? So how about you go into each interaction and saying, I'm going to choose the consequences of my choice. So you can play out the scenarios of what you would do and what could happen, and then see what the consequences of each choice is. And then when you see that the consequence is something that you like and want to feel, now you know what to choose. Doesn't matter what else happens in the drama unfolding out there. Let them think they're right, whatever. You're choosing the consequences of the choice. And if you go into every decision with that on your lips, on your heart, on your mind, now you're operating from a perspective that's brilliant. Really, it's brilliant to go and look at all the different options and say, okay, what are the consequences? Let me play it out. Let me play it out in my head. I know how this will go. Oh, that'll feel that way. Oh, that'll feel that way. Oh, I like the way this feels. Okay. Now that's what I'm choosing always. Isn't that powerful? You're becoming a time traveler, intuitive time traveler. All right. I do have a clip I want to play here. This is the amazing Abraham. They are just a mirror to you, it's called. I found it on the Z Mahoon YouTube page. Let's take a listen.
And are you refreshed? Yes. Good. Now what?
Hello, Abraham. Thank you for calling on me. I have someone in my life who's a family member, an in-law, a brother-in-law.
Dun, dun, dun.
Let's put it this way, that we don't gel. I won't go into too much detail, but we don't gel. And my balance really gets totally messed up when I'm around this person. I really just don't want to be around this person at all. So my soul says, just don't be around this person. You don't have to, just don't.
Seems logical.
And it feels so much better. I mean, it's such a weight.
So never go there again.
Okay, bye-bye.
We have some bad news. It isn't your fight with this person that is turning you upside down. It's a vibrational battle within yourself that this person is pointing out to you.
A battle within myself that they are pointing out to me.
Seems like it's their fault. But all that's happening is that this person is behaving in a way that's activating something within you that is contrary to who you really are. And it feels to you that if that person weren't there, you wouldn't be doing it. And that may be true to a certain extent, because when you give your attention to something, it does make more active what's already in you about it. Here's how it really goes. If you were meditating every day and starting at your core level and allowing that momentum to gain traction, you would only have love and appreciation in your being. And if only love and appreciation is in your being, it wouldn't matter what else is around there. You wouldn't lock onto each other. So you must not be doing that. And almost no one really is. So you must be letting what's going on out here in your manifested world keep active in you some things that are also active in this other person. And every now and again, you just get together and remind each other of what you don't like in yourself. That's really the way that it is. When Jerry and Esther began this work, there was a lot of conversation about, well, they're just a mirror to you. And that really troubled Jerry. He asked questions like, well, if someone steals from me, does that mean I'm a thief? Or if someone shoots me with a gun, does that mean that I would shoot someone with a gun? And we say, of course it doesn't mean that, but it means that there is an active awareness within you that is paving a pathway, a path of least resistance to experiences that you do not want. And so sometimes someone will say, I'm having this experience with this person at work or this person in my family, and shouldn't I just get away from them? And we sometimes say, it might be easier for you, yes. But remember, you're going to be taking yourself with you. And someone else will fulfill that role. They just will. Somebody else will show up that will take the place of that if it's active within you. And so the good news is, if there's something active within you that you don't prefer, what you do prefer is radiating from you often. So there's a very high probability that this person is causing you to put a whole lot of newness in your vortex that you are not coming into alignment with. So here's what's happening. That's why it gets worse as time goes by. You see it, you don't like it, you ask for improvement, which you don't make. Then you see it again, you ask for more improvement, which you don't make. Then you see it again and you ask for more improvement. So this very person is causing expansion in you that you're not taking. We don't blame you for being mad at them. If they'd just be different, you'd feel better.
That's right.
But that's such a conditional way of living, because that puts the responsibility on everybody else to change and no responsibility on you, who is the only one who can adjust your vibration.
Well, I thought I was being unselfish by not expecting them to change, but just deciding to stay away from them.
Well, we think it's a good idea to not expect them to change, but we think it's a good idea for you to expect to change your vibration so that you rendezvous with different aspects of them, because you know very well there are positive aspects in there.
Are there?
Well, we know very well there are positive aspects in there. And so let's just walk through this just for fun. So let's say that, how long have you been fighting with this person?
About 10 years, maybe.
So there's some momentum there. Momentum of expectation and so forth. Because even when you decide, oh, I'm not going there, I'm going over there, you still went over there. And then when you go over there, when you really wanted to go over there, but you go over there because you couldn't go over there because they're over there, then you resent not going over there. And even though you went over there, you took your resentment about not going over there with you.
Yeah, that's true.
And so you didn't mean to compound the vibration, but you did. So let's say that you've decided that instead of fighting it out any further, openly or silently, that you're going to meditate. And let's say you've meditated for a week or two or three, for 15 or 20 minutes a day, and now you're in this attached state where this good feeling thought comes to mind. And the good feeling thought doesn't have anything to do with this person. It's about something that you might like to do. So it sounds like a good idea, and since there's no resistance within you about it, you go and do that. Let's say it's a department store or maybe a grocery store, something that seems practical but interesting. And you go, and then you get an impulse to, oh yeah, that makes me think about that. So you go over there, and then, oh, and that makes me think about that. So you move around in this space, not even knowing that this other person is also in this space. And then later, you find out that you were both in a very small space, and you didn't even run into this person. And you think, how could that possibly be? Well, it's because your vibration didn't include the vibration of that person, because you've been meditating. And so law of attraction didn't put you in the same space, even though you were in the same close space. But isn't it interesting that you even were then inspired into a conversation where somehow you learned that they were there at about the same time that you were there, and then you realize this stuff really works, that I don't have to consciously avoid, I'm just not going to be attracted to. My inner being has my back, in other words. That's one possible scenario. Or Let's say you've been meditating and you get an impulse to go somewhere and you go. And as you go, you think you see that person and you actually realize that they are there, and you're watching them have a very congenial, pleasant interchange with someone. And you think, that's a side I haven't seen, before you run away. There are endless scenarios. Or you get an impulse to go somewhere and you're visiting with someone who brings that person up, and they are offering a compliment about that person that you had not thought of before. So you shift a little more, and without even making any effort about it, because you're meditating and you've quieted that vibration and a whole lot of others that are troubling to you, your experience is different in the world, not just with that person, but with everyone. When you deactivate resistant vibrations, you move around in different ways. You have different encounters with your own mind. You have different encounters with others who are thinking different things. Everything in your world is affected by the vibrational countenance of your being. And before you know it, that discomfort is so deactivated within you that you wonder what it was ever about. Now, you could dig it up and you could stir it up again. You could remember, you could get it back, but there would be no reason to, and it wouldn't come easily. In fact, we're telling you, it will one day be as difficult for you to stir up the stuff you don't want as it feels like in these days it will be as difficult for you to release it. But it's far easier when you've got the leverage and the assistance of your inner being who loves this terrible person. Your inner being can find no fault with this person. Your inner being doesn't want you to need to live a conditional life in order to feel good, because a conditional life is a narrow life. There are so many things out in the world that you don't want, and if you ran and hid from every one of them, you'd stay home all day, every day. So you might want to ask yourself, why is it that I'm willing to go out and encounter that vibration? It must not really be that terrible. Or I've grown in endurance to it. In other words, I'm so habitual in these thoughts that they don't even feel off to me. My negative thought about this person is so normal to me that I'm not recognizing the subtle vibration of love that is reaching to me at the same time. Helpful?
Yes, thank you.
The most wonderful thing about a conversation like this, and we are appreciating so much your soft receptivity to it, is that it will free you into the world. Feelings of negativity, even if they're justified, are still you battling you. You're just using somebody else as the excuse.
I don't need that.
No one does.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Lots of wisdom here, as always. It's always a vibrational battle within yourself. They're just pointing it out to you, right? So what are these people doing that annoy you the most? You know, of course, this is an example of a family member, brother-in-law, whatever. Same old thing plays out so many times for all of us, you know, same type of scenario. People you're stuck with because of family. You've got to go to that, like, you know, birthday party or family gathering or reunion. And there they are, you know, your adversary that's there to help you sharpen your axe, really. And what you talked about, if only love and appreciation is in your being, you wouldn't lock on to that person that annoys you. There wouldn't be a rendezvous, right? You've got something that matches them and they're bringing it out. You're being squeezed, and anxiousness, anger, reactivity, those things are coming out, right? So where's the sweet orange juice at, everyone? And what's happening is there's an active awareness. There's a part of you that's paving a path to these experiences that you don't want. And you can run, but you'll always be there. Everywhere you go, you'll be there waiting for yourself, right? If you remove yourself from the situation, someone else is going to show up because you take yourself with you. And what's great is, you know, they're making you, when these people are challenging you, they're making you ask for more, right? They're always prompting you to reach for a better experience. You know, and we fall into these loops. She talks about, you see it, you ask for improvement, but you don't take it because you don't realize your perspective is the only thing that can be changed. You can't change them. She gave the department store analogy where you don't run into the person anymore if your vibration is no longer a match. So if you're running into them, isn't that powerful to know? If you're running into them, if you're bumping up against this person that really annoys you, there's something that is as vibrationally a match that they're showing you about yourself. Like that, I don't think that fully sinks in with us sometimes, how powerful that truth and realization is. Once you realize that, now you can really get down to uncovering, instead of projecting and pointing the finger constantly about what's wrong with them and what they should be doing different. You're using them as a tool to sharpen your own being. I love how she said, everything in your world is affected by the vibrational countenance of your being. Super powerful words. And then, a little nugget of something to look forward to. She's basically saying one day it'll be harder to get out of alignment as it is easy for you now, right? You'll get so good at doing this. You're meant, your destiny is to become so good at this, at managing your own vibration. You become like a rock. You're going to become like deep-rooted being that just knows who and what it wants to be and does not allow the storm raging around. You're the eye of the storm. And that's a powerful thing to realize. And you can see it. You've already seen the proof. You've already seen the steps, the growth that you've taken, right? Look at how much, compare yourself now to where you were a year ago. And that's really the only other comparison you should ever be doing is with yourself, right? Not against anyone else. You're on your own unique path and you're doing it. So that's encouraging to know that, this becomes like, you look back and like, oh, I remember when I was still, a wobbly legged, 14-month-old equivalent of a 14-month-old who's barely starting to walk, right? You're getting stronger and stronger and stronger every day. And that's encouraging, isn't it? One of the last things she said, feelings of negativity about another, even if justified, is still just you battling yourself. You're just using them as an excuse, right? Become aware of that and act accordingly. Okay, you've got the information now. You get it. We've drilled it in. Although we'll probably do this a zillion other times at some point when it feels like it needs to be refined and rehoned, and we're going to work out again. We're going to practice. But using that, just remember to use that. This is your truth now. This is your awareness. You no longer are only seeing these stressful situations as things that are happening to you that are just an annoyance. You're realizing like Rumi said, if you're irritated by every rub, how will your mirror be polished? You instead are committed to polishing your mirror now. And that is a beautiful thing, my friends. And I applaud you for the work that you're doing. Not only is it affecting your life, it's affecting your family members' life. It's affecting this world. It's affecting the collective consciousness of mankind, of the planet, which is rippling out into the cosmos. You are making a beautiful ripple in the collective sea of consciousness by doing this work. And for that, you should be very proud of yourself. I know I'm proud of you, and the journey goes on. You're going to only get better and stronger. You'll be running in no time. And in the meantime, here's some great music to run to. I love the song. It's called Soul Rising. I'm sorry. It's called The Journey by Soul Rising. And continue on your journey. I hope you all journey so well. Until next time, love you all so much.
Also, before we cue up today's song, as a quick reminder, don't forget to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.
Yeah.